Today on Time About the Movies, we begin the month of June off with a series of movies that are not very good, and even the one that was good back then is very much a movie that is not aged well. Russell Brand and Jonah Hill, and also Sean Puffy Combs, P. Diddy, starring in Get Him to the Greek, the spin-off to Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and then we have a couple of lackluster comedies, including Katherine Heigl continuing her devastating downfall after knocked up with Ashton Kutcher in the action comedy Killers. We have Owen Wilson starring as Marmaduke in a movie because the world was clearly demanding a Marmaduke movie. Maybe or maybe not, I don't know. But we also have, finally, we have Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley in the horror film Splice. So, a wide assortment of movies here. Not a lot of good movies, but certainly ones that will be a lot of discussion to be talked about here. So, let's get right to it. June 2010 starts right now here on Time About the Movies.
Get Him to the Greek. Rated R.
Now you gotta wonder what Jonah Hill's probably thinking right now.
Call the police.
Welcome to Time About the Movies, and boy, do we have a week of movies for you that is going to lead to a lot of interesting conversations and discussions. These are the 4 movies of June 4, 2010. So let's get to the biggest new release and the best new release, but yeah, it's hard to think about it now what we know. But Get Him to the Greek, which is the spin-off to Forgetting Sarah Marshall, starring Russell Brand's Aldous Snow character from that movie, now is the lead, and Jonah Hill's in here, not playing the same character you get in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, but a different character. He plays an intern in this who suggests to have a 10th anniversary concert for Aldous Snow's Live at the Greek Theater concert to his boss, record producer Sergio, played by Sean Puffy Combs, aka P. Diddy. Sergio agrees and sends Aaron to London to pick up the rock star and get him first to NBC's Today Show and then to the Greek Theater in Los Angeles, all within 72 hours. And of course, like in most road movies, hilarity ensues, including an adrenaline shot a la Pulp Fiction, Aaron drinking up whiskey and smoking to keep Aldous clean, and Aaron sticking a thing of drugs up his ass, which, boy, let's get to the controversies, because that's definitely one of those scenes that's just like, what the hell were you thinking? But nowadays, this thing has gotten a whole lot even more creepier, because not only that scene, but there's also a scene where Jonah Hill's character is raped, and it's one of those things where it's just like, you know, it's very hard to make rape funny. It's the observe and report argument again. Like, it's very hard to make rape funny, and yeah, it's not that great of a joke in this movie anyway. But the big thing that everyone takes away from this now is, of course, the fact that Sean Puffy Combs has been arrested and indicted on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation for public purposes of prostitution. And many people note that his character from Get Him to the Greek commits several crimes very similar to his sexual misconduct allegations in real life. So yeah, that opening, that joke I had with Jonah Hill pretty much sums up the movie now, because we all know how much of a scumbag Russell Brand is now. And yeah, watching this movie again, it was very, very hard not to think about that. But I did enjoy the movie, and like I said, I like Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I think it's one of my favorite romantic comedies of all time, but there's nothing in this movie that's on that same level as Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I mean, Forgetting Sarah Marshall was at least a lighthearted, raunchy romantic comedy, but this is a straight-up raunchy road comedy a la Road Trip. But it's not a bad movie, and yeah, it can be very awkward to watch, especially what we know now, but it's still enjoyable. I still enjoyed it back then, and I still find it enjoyable now. I thought Brand and Hill were pretty good in here. This was back when Russell Brand had some talent to him before he basically shit on his own career and basically became a pariah to everybody. And Jonah Hill was really good in here too. Even P. Diddy had some good lines in here. Like, you know, my favorite line in the whole thing was, "I got 6 fucking kids. You know how many Air Jordan 6 black kids wear?" I mean, lines like that are great overall. Rose Byrne. This is another one of those movies that was like I think this was the first movie that made her the comedic actress that she is now, and not just the person who was in more dramatic stuff like Wicker Park. Like, this is like just before Bridesmaids really catapulted her, and I thought she was very good as Aldous' love interest in this, who kind of like a mix between Katy Perry and Lady Gaga. Shockingly, the one person in here that I thought was really, really bad was Elizabeth Moss, who plays Jonah Hill's girlfriend in this, and she has this scene where like she get, like something happens where he doesn't trust her, and so the whole idea is Aldous basically says, let's have a three-way together, and she's the one that's all in on it. It's just like, where did that turn come from? It's like something that comes out of nowhere. And this film would have been fine if there was nothing, if that scene was not in the movie whatsoever. But unfortunately, that scene is in there, and like it just makes no sense to add it in there. It's just a pointless addition to the plot here. I mean, if you want to make the argument that they saw the original script for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where Neil Page's wife thought she was cheating on him, he was cheating on her with John Candy's character, and they took that out smartly because that would have ruined the whole dynamic of the movie. Somebody looked at it and said, well, we could do that in our movie instead. Keep in mind, this is the first of two road comedies this year that add that plot in there, because we haven't gotten to Due Date yet, and they do the same thing in that movie. Completely pointless and has nothing to do with the story in general. And the trailers did not do a very good job of selling the movie either. I think the movie has a lot more funnier stuff to it than the trailers were letting on, but yeah, it's definitely weird to watch it now, knowing what we know now about the two of the three leads in here, but it still is a funny movie. I did get more laughs out of it than I thought I was going to get out of it now that time has passed, but yeah, overall, I still think it's a good movie, but yeah, it's definitely one where it's hard to watch it without thinking about what we know now about Russell Brand and P. Diddy, and yeah, it may actually elevate the movie more to people that they see a real life portrayal of what these two people are now in real life. But yeah, back then you would have never thought that possible. But like I said, it's still a good movie, but it's no Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's definitely no Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And believe me, I would rather watch this one again than the next two comedies we have here, because now we get to the crap. I can hear the voices of the haha comedy guy coming in just a few moments here, so let's go ahead and give him some more. Let's take a look at Killers.
Let's just say that I work for the blah, 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 and they gave me a license to blah.
Comedy.
How the hell do you make a ripoff of Night and Day before the movie even comes out? We're still 3 weeks away from Night and Day, and yet for some reason, everyone, I guess, thought that was going to be the next big thing, and we got to make our own movie off of this, because, hey, we've got the director of Legally Blonde, who hasn't directed a good movie since Legally Blonde. And of course, Katherine Heigl worked with him on the last movie she did, The Ugly Truth, which, yeah, like I said at the beginning, this was the beginning of her, this was when her career was just careening down, because everything she had said about Knocked Up being sexist and offensive, yeah, that has been since thrown out the door, because, yeah, you're the crazy one because you keep accepting garbage like this. The film centers on Katherine Heigl, a young woman who meets the man of her dreams, played by Ashton Kutcher, who turns out to be an assassin. And you see that in the trailer. You see in the trailer that Katherine Heigl's got to be the nervous, not ready for not ready for a relationship thing. It's just like, and again, it's the whole thing where it's just like they barely meet and they're already getting married. It's another one of those movies where it's just like this woman clearly is not ready for any kind of commitment whatsoever, and the fact that she has to marry an assassin, it's just not. And it'd be fine if the movie was good, but no, it doesn't work at all. The action sequences are terrible. The comedy is awful. There is no chemistry between Heigl and Kutcher at all. At least with The Ugly Truth, I saw a little bit of chemistry between Heigl and Butler, but here, they're not even trying. Like, there's nothing about this movie that makes any sense whatsoever. The jokes are terrible. It's a movie that's trying to be smart and high-tech, but it wants to appeal to the Sex and the City audience. Not the Sex and the City TV show, the Sex and the City movie audience, just because, heaven forbid, if we have to actually give them a smart movie to watch instead of regurgitated piles of garbage like this that waste a ton of talent. I mean, come on. Not just Kutcher and Heigl. Tom Selleck is in this, Catherine O'Hara, Catherine Winnick, Kevin Sussman, Lisa Ann Walter, Casey Wilson, Rob Riggle, Martin Mull, Alex Borstein, Larry Joe Campbell. Usher is in here too. Mary Birdsong from Reno 911. Have I gotten the point across? This movie's fucking awful. This movie is fucking awful, plain and simple. I hate this movie. I hate it so much. I hate the fact that Katherine Heigl said all these things about Knocked Up, and ever since 27 Dresses, she has made crap after crap after crap, and it's going to get worse before it gets any better. So, and we'll have another bad Katherine Heigl movie coming up in the fall. So, definitely be on the lookout for that, because, yeah, that one's not as bad as this, but yeah, this is absolute garbage. I can't believe they made this and actually thought they were going to fool everybody into thinking that, oh, we're smarter than this. No, you're dumb. This movie is dumb. This whole thing is dumb. It's dumb. Plain and simple. And, but hey, at least it's not as dumb and stupid as our next movie, because, yeah, good old Tommy Rothman's going to take another classic, not even a classic, but he's looking at the newspaper and says like, let me look at the comics section. Let me see what I can find here that I can make a movie off of. Oh, we already did Garfield. Oh, there's already Peanuts. Fuck it, Marmaduke.
Comedy.
Because this is what you think of when you think of Marmaduke, right? What the fuck were they thinking when they made this? Like, does any of this feel like the Marmaduke comic strip? No, it doesn't. But, Fox said, hey, the Garfield movie didn't make a whole lot of sense, but it made a ton of money. Alvin and the Chipmunks made a ton of money. Fat Albert made a ton of money. I clearly know what I'm doing, even though my company is going down the toilet with garbage like this. I'm Tom Rothman, and I'm better than you, is what he says in the mirror every day, but everybody else doesn't think that. But this is Marmaduke. It centers on a Great Dane named Marmaduke, played by Owen Wilson, because that's what I clearly think of when I think of Marmaduke's voice. Owen Wilson, who does not sound like a fucking teenager at all. And that I'll get that in just a second, but the family moves from Kansas to Orange County, California, and faces challenges fitting with other dogs. And you think that whole diatribe about, Owen Wilson saying, like, the dog park is like high school. No, that's not just a throwaway joke. This movie literally thinks of itself as a high school coming-of-age teen comedy with dogs. And they do everything that in these type of that you would see in a movie like a Juno, in a movie like a Breakfast Club. No, in a movie like a high school comedy. Like, that's what literally happens in here. Like, there's a whole section of the movie where there's literally a part where, the family, Lee Pace and Judy Greer, they're gonna let Marmaduke stay in the house, and Judy Greer's just like, oh, he's got this, he's got that, and like Lee Pace is just like, he looks so normal standing there. What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do? Bring his girlfriend over, invite his friends over, and Marmaduke's just like, yes, and yes, and it's just like, who wrote this dialogue? None of this makes any sense. And then they throw this party, and they literally do, it's like a after party, a high school party. Except there's... I'm flabbergasted. I'm losing my mind here. Deep breath. So what ends up happening is that he has this party at his house, and they literally have a scene where one of the dogs is just like, I am a golden dog, just like the scene from Almost Famous. Because when I think of a Marmaduke movie, you know what the first movie I think of? Almost Famous. What kid is going to get that reference? What adult is going to get this reference and think to themselves, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's clever. Nobody. Nobody is going to do that, because this movie thinks Marmaduke is something that is so much more important and so much more of a beloved character. Marmaduke is not a beloved character. He's no Garfield. He's no Snoopy. He's no Alvin and the Chipmunks. Like, he's no Fat Albert. Like, there's no reason to make this movie. And on top of that, there's no reason to have this stacked of a cast in here. Owen Wilson, who was the wrong choice for this fucking dog. Lee Pace, who deserves a whole lot better. So does Judy Greer, William H. Macy, and then the voices in this. They stacked the cast with Emma Stone, George Lopez, Christopher Mintz-Plasse, Steve Coogan, Fergie, Kiefer Sutherland, Damon Wayans Jr., Marlon Wayans, Sam Elliott. Why the hell are all these names in this goddamn movie? And it's your typical 2000s kids movie where we're not going to be clever about this at all. We're going to throw in gross out humor. We're going to add in stupid slapstick comedy because we have no idea what the hell we're doing. But we know that this is a family film, and you're going to trick it, and you're going to bring your kids to this whether you like it or not, parents. And yeah, it ended up becoming a hit, unfortunately. But yeah, critics properly trashed this movie, and yeah, it's a terrible movie, man. Like, what more do I got to say about this? This is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. This is probably, here's the sad part. This is somehow even worse than the Garfield movies that Fox did. I would rather watch the Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels again. That's how bad this is. This thing is making the Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels look better by comparison, and those are trash. This is garbage. This is unbelievably stupid. It makes no sense whatsoever. It's just... You saw how I was losing my mind there, and I'm still losing my mind. Like, I can't believe somebody put this out there and thought, we got a hit on our hands, and hey, they were right. It suckered the audiences in, and that's 2 hours of their life they're never gonna get back. Because yeah, this is right up there with some of the worst movies of the year. Like, this is... Do I gotta say more? It's garbage. It's fucking garbage, plain and simple. So, yeah, that's Marmaduke, so let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up because I am tired this whole weekend. I told you it was going to lead to a lot of interesting conversations, and so will this last movie because, yeah, it's what you think. It's definitely worth the talk here. Let's talk about Splice. Yeah, this is a very, very bizarre movie. Adrian Brody goes from being an Academy Award-winning actor for The Pianist to wanting to bang a creation that he literally made. I mean, I'm not even joking. That's literally what happens in this movie. It concerns experiments in genetic engineering being done by a young scientific couple played by Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley, who attempt to introduce human DNA into the world of splicing animal genes, resulting in the creation of a human-animal hybrid played by Delphine Shannick. And, yeah, I'll tell you this much. She's beautiful. She's a beautiful-looking woman in real life, and let me tell you, I mean, yeah, you can see why Adrian Brody wants to bang her because, yeah, this is a bizarre story. But when you see this thing without the hair and all that, it's like, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Yeah, this is a movie that is very, very weird. It's a weird, bizarre concept of a film, and like it's a bizarre movie. And to its credit, that's probably why I admire it so much because it's a movie that just says, "Fuck it, we're gonna go crazy on this story," and it doesn't necessarily go all the way towards it, but at the same time, it's just like, yeah, it's a really odd movie, man. Like, it's one of those movies where it's very polarizing. But you're either gonna see it and think it's pretty bizarre, but you kind of are admired by it, or you're just gonna hate it. Like, it's kind of like with The Human Centipede, except nowhere near as disturbing and disgusting as that movie is, but yeah, it's an interesting movie, to say the least. Adrian Brody and Sarah Polley are doing a good job here. Like I said, Delphine Shannick does a very good job as this creature that is in here. And yeah, it's a very, very odd movie and very bizarre. And yeah, like I said, it's a movie that you're either going to hate it or you're either going to love it. And I kind of admire it for its craziness. I love how insane it gets. It doesn't go all the way with it, but it goes well enough where I would say that, yeah, this is probably something that you should probably see if you like some weird, sick, twisted stuff like The Fly, the Jeff Goldblum Fly, or like or just like a fan of like old school, like, you know, practical effects horror movies like the 80s Thing or An American Werewolf in London. It feels like that type of a film where it's like so bizarre and so insane, and yet you can't take your eyes off of it. It's just that bizarre and interesting overall, and yeah, it certainly is an interesting piece of filmmaking, and one that probably deserves to be checked out at least once to see if you're either really going to love it or you're really going to hate it. So that is Splice. Man, what a week of movies we had. Definitely some very, very interesting films on all ends of the spectrum. But next time we meet on Time About the Movies, we'll have at least a much more restrained show with 4 more movies to look at, including the big one being the remake of The Karate Kid with Jackie Chan starring in the role of the sensei in here, and Jaden Smith, Will Smith's kid, getting a chance to make it on his own as a leading actor in a movie that will actually surprise you, really, when you see it. We also have, from the director of Smoking Aces, Joe Carnahan, tackling the A-Team with Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, who else is in here? Charlton Copley and Quentin Rampage Jackson in a movie based off the television series from the 1980s. We also have the documentary Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, and also Jennifer Lawrence in her first major leading starring role in Winter's Bone. So we'll take a look at all 4 of those movies coming up tomorrow on the show, so definitely be on the lookout for that. But with all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed the show, because if you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button, and also don't forget to hit our playlist as well as the previous episodes so you can check out some of the other shows we've done. And don't forget to stay tuned, because coming up next, Time About the Movies Flashback takes a look at 3 movies from 1987, Burt Reynolds in the film Heat, the classic sequel Evil Dead 2: Dead by Dawn, and the classic Coen Brothers film Raising Arizona. So stick around for that coming up in just a little bit. But whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies.